Yep.
Hey, Ritch and Pete, how are you?
Hey Mel, how are you?
Good, good, good. So we're going to talk some more functional stuff today, are we?
Functional stuff it is. We've got another question for you.
Okay, hit me with it.
Okay, pet sitting, major part of your world at the moment, provides you shelter.
Yep.
Do you have options if this dried up or you wanted to change?
Mm-hmm.
And as most of the other questions I ask, is that thinking too far ahead?
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, it is a very, very big part of my world, and it keeps growing in that. I didn't really intend to do pet sitting as such a big part of what I do, but I just love it so much. And I'm probably going to expand a little bit further into it even more in various ways. It is probably evolving for me in that I think as I understand the benefits for both parties in pet sitting, that I certainly looked at it when I started doing it as it's all for me, it's free accommodation, and that's great. But, you know, for a pet, for a homeowner, you know, if they're normally paying 50 to 70 euros a day to board one dog, I'm saving them a significant amount of money as well. And in some houses, I've looked after 5 dogs or 3 dogs and 5 cats or 3 cats, you know. So now I am kind of going, actually, it is really a two-way street. And in order for me to be able to continue to do it, I need to survive. I don't want to earn money from it, but I am starting to increase what I'm asking for, which is now more, I've always said, you know, I will use your condiments and, you know, things like that. You're not going to go and buy a whole litre of olive oil to be here for a 1 week, you know, so please have those now. Now I've actually got quite a defined little list of, you know, please make sure you have these things in the house for me. And I think from here on in, I'm starting to talk to people and say, I actually want you to supply me the food while I'm there. You know, like I only spend normally 40 to 60 euros a week on food. So.
And any resistance to that today?
Today I haven't asked for it as a condition of doing it. I've said, look, I expect these staples, but, you know, bearing in mind I don't have any other source of income, if you'd like to supply more, it would be hugely appreciated. And the last few places I've been at since I've said that have gone, here's the freezer, here's the fridge, you know, and of course they just don't know what I like. So I think that now, you know, depending on the location, I think in the future I'll start to say, you know, I would like that. And I can let you know the sorts of things that I am actually interested in. Or, you know, maybe you can set up a little account down at the supermarket for me to buy fresh fruit and vegetables, because if I'm there for 1 week, it's one thing. But if I'm there for a month, obviously, whatever they buy me in week 1 is not going to last a month. Just because it allows me to continue to do it. And they know they can trust me, and I'm starting to get more and more people that want me to come back. And it's not to take advantage of that situation. It's a genuine thing where I go, well, actually, now that you really know and trust me, it makes your life a lot easier. And I think they start to really understand, this isn't a holiday for me, this is my life. And I've had a number of people who've said to me that they now see the benefits of me having me because it's my life. So the last place I went, because I actually write in my application, I'm better as a pet sitter for you because I'm not a holiday maker. When I'm if someone's coming out on a holiday for 6 weeks and they want to do pet sitting and they muck it up, you've got no recourse on them. They don't care because they never want to do it again. And if they get a bad review, it doesn't matter. If I get a bad review, I'm in trouble, you know, to continue my stuff because people have given me a bad review. But on top of that, it's my home. It is my home while I am here. It's the only home that I have. So I'm going to treat it like my home. I'm going to respect it like my home. It's not a hotel to me that I can trash and expect someone to clean up afterwards. It's my home. And these pets are my pets. You know, I just had the beautiful Miss Holly at the last place I was at for 6 days. And I had, apart from walking to the gym and back, she was with me all day. We went to the beach together, we hung out together because she's my company and she's my pet. And they said they could see you know, like they said when they got home, she came and said hello, and then she went into my room. And the husband took her out for a walk when they got home. And when she came back, I'd gone out to do something. And he said the minute she walked in, she walked straight back into my room to see where I'd gone. So he said, we can see how much time she has spent with you and how attached she is to you and how much you've cared for her in that time. So there is a difference in the way that I approach it. So I think now it's fair to say, well, if I want to continue this, I've got to make sure it's self-sustaining for me. I don't want to charge money, but I don't intend to do that, but just making sure I can sustain myself.
Just taking a step back, how did it start? We haven't discussed that.
Well, basically how it started was a few years ago. I actually met someone who said they did it in Melbourne all the time. They work and live in Melbourne, a couple, and they just did it around Melbourne to save on paying rent. And they said in 2 years we've lived in a hotel for 2 weeks, and the money that we used saving on paying a rent allowed us to save our mortgage. And I went, what a bloody good idea. And so I thought I'd just do it as a little bit to get over here, and I just love it so much. I didn't expect to love it so much. There's downsides to it, and I've done some videos on the just downsides or the things that you have to think about. And it's a lot harder for a holiday maker, because if you've got a dog that needs its nappy changed every 4 hours, you can't go and spend 8 hours sightseeing Sevilla. You've got to come back and deal with that, and that doesn't suit. If you've planned your holiday or planned a day trip, you can't necessarily do that. You've got to think about the pets as a priority, their time in work. So some of those sorts of things. So what have it dried up? It already does in some areas. So, you know, if I was in England, France, Germany, there is so much work there, like in America and Australia, like just so much work there. So I don't think that's an issue. But, you know, some countries, I just applied for one this morning in Slovenia. I mean, oh, thank God, one in Slovenia. I really want to go to Slovenia, and to find one in that country is hard. There's some countries they just don't know about it. It's not, you know, I'm trying to find friends of friends in some of the countries I want to go to, so that's harder. So in that way, it's dried up, you know, and there's actually quite a lot less in Spain and Portugal and Italy than in the other countries, huge amounts less, but it's only because I get them more easily now because I'm more experienced, and I'm getting a lot more through word of mouth. So yes, and I'm happy. I mean, sometimes I just need a little bit of a break, because if you are doing another sort of job, so there's websites like Woofer and Workaway where you can go in and say I voluntarily work between, I think it's meant to be 12 to 16 hours a week in return for food and accommodation. And there is thousands of jobs on there. So you could be painting a house, renovating a house, speaking English to children, being a childcare person, working on an organic farm. And there's meant to be a cultural exchange in that as well, where you get taught about organic farming, for example, in that time as well. You know, anything you can think of, come and build my fence, paint my, if you're an artist, come and paint my wall. I run a yoga retreat, come and make it look pretty if you're an artist, and make that wall or section look beautiful, ready for me to open. Website management, come in and fix my website and stay at my place for a month.
What is that?
There's Workaway and there's Woofer, and there's a number of them around. There's Safex, I think it is. There's a number of different sites around that do it, and so you can go and do that. And it has its advantages, because if you go and do that for 4 hours, so if you agree to, I'm going to work 8 to 12 every day on that, once 12's off, you've clocked off. You've clocked off, and so you can go out and party all night, do whatever you want to do, or sightsee all night, and not have to race back to deal with the dog. Or you can agree to do, and I did it in one place. I said, look, I'm getting a hire car, I want to go and see my son. Can I do 8 to 10 hour days for 2 or 3 days? Because they wanted me to paint. And I said, I don't want to set everything up for 4 hours. By the time I put everything away and clean brushes, you know, I just want to paint for 8 to 10 hours, get that done, work for 2 days, and then spend the rest of the week doing whatever I want. And they went, go for it, as long as it's painted, we don't care. So obviously, and there's working in hostels. There's a lot of that, working in hostels and cleaning and greeting people and all of that in hostels, working in Airbnbs, working in So all of that, and through those sites, all privately arranged. The other thing that I'm looking at and thinking about is effectively locuming. You know, if you're in an Airbnb in a hostel, because I've got a lot of business management experience, do you want me to come in and run it for you for a month or two while you go on holidays? And I'll meet and greet your Airbnb guests while I'm there, and do all the things that you would do in your Airbnb. Nutrition work, PT. Do you want me to come into your home and we'll do PT together twice a week, and I'll do a nutrition program for you and help you with the diet. I'll clean out your cupboards. I'll declutter. I'll minimalise. You know, let me, instead of just talking about minimalise, I'll come into your house, Rich. Let me go through your cupboards, Rich, and we'll sort that out for you, and I'll help you cull. So all of that, gardening, maintenance work, if you've got a skill in those areas, you know, there's a gazillion things. It's thinking about what can I offer you, and it's saying to people, you know, I've spoken to some people about pet sitting and said, oh, we don't have a pet, and I've gone, so what do you need help with? What would make it? I've had people that said to me, anytime you need a couch, you know, you're welcome, we've got a spare room. Anytime that you want, just feel free to come. And I said, I don't mind staying for a night, but if I'm staying there longer, what do you need done? Because I'm not bludging off you. I will feel uncomfortable to do that. So what do you need done? Do you want me to weed your garden? Do you want me to paint your wall? You know, what do you want me to do for a couple of days? And I'll come do that.
I love that.
Yeah. So, you know, there's all of that. You know, caring for elderly people, caring for someone who's sick, caring for children, you know, like there's a lot of that stuff. And that's why I think it's such an advantage living this life, because you suddenly go, there's a lot I can do to support myself financially without earning money. And
so
whether it's,
are you advertising your pet sitting on those sites?
No, I don't. I have I use a service for that, which I can put the link in the video for. But also now I'm getting more referral work for the pet sitting. So I have my own website, and on my website talks about nutrition, health. Not that I've done anything paid on those things, but nutrition, health, pet sitting. And I've also got teaching English as a foreign language as a certificate. So that's another thing. I can do language exchange. I can live in your house. You know, if it's a Spanish person, what a better way to learn English than have an English person live in your house for a couple of weeks that doesn't speak Spanish. And you know, I'll talk to you all day. Trust me, I'll talk to you all day. And and you've got to try and understand it.
Yeah.
So there's all of those things. It's then saying to somebody, what are you busy? If you're busy, what do you need me to do for you? Do you want me to go and get your shopping for you? What can I do in your house that makes it worthwhile me staying there? And that's a really cool way. I love thinking that way, you know. So in terms of, is it too far ahead to think about that? Yeah, it kind of is. But to break it up, you know, to break it up for me, because it sounds like it's no responsibility a pet, but it kind of is. You know, I've recently done one that were in nappies and very elderly, and it's my worst fear that a pet will die on my watch. And you know, you kind of think maybe I should do something else in between just to break that up, or just to be able to socialise. You know, I've had, like yesterday I went, as I said, I went for an hour and a half down to Benalmadden to visit a girlfriend of mine, and you know, it'd been a lot easier if I could have just stayed there overnight and come back the next morning. I can't do that with pets. So, you know.
What about just house sitting?
Well, yes, but once again, you've got to talk to the owner to say, do you mind if I'm away for a night? Because if they're happy with you to be away for a night, sometimes they are, but they might want you to be in the house. There's not as much demand for house sitting, just house sitting, you know. I think it's good. There's probably more demand for house swapping. I've got nothing to swap. There's not as much demand at all. But yeah, it's certainly an option. That's the other thing. What about if I come into your house, because half of the houses here are empty right now. Half of the apartments and houses are empty. It's winter. I'll come in and I'll come into your house and I'll wash all the curtains and all the sheets and everything ready for your B&B guests, or ready for you to come back to when it's summertime. And I'll spruce it all up and get it ready. But I'll live in it for 2 or 3 months. in winter, because otherwise it's sitting here empty. I'll do something like that. I'll spruce up all the gardens, have it ready. There's those options. I haven't pursued them yet. And the other thing with the pet sitting, like I'm out walking dogs, and when I was in the pet sit I'm going to be doing in Lagos in 3 or 4 weeks' time, I was walking down the street and I stopped to pat a puppy, and really cute little choppy lab that she had got for Christmas. And I said, this dog's gorgeous. And she said, oh, you seem to, because I got the dog to sit. I was just sitting there, I think I got the dog to sit or something, and I was patting it. She said, oh, you seem to love pets. I said, yeah. I said, well, that's what I do. I'm a pet sitter. And she went, really? But what's that? And how much do you charge for that? And I said, well, I don't charge. And I said to her, but I do expect accommodation and food. And she went, wow, we were going to have to put him in a kennel. And I went, well, you don't. I can come to your home. When are you thinking of going? She said, sometime in April. I said, here's my phone number. And that's where I'm going. She said, that's awesome. Now, she lives on a golf resort. So I'm thinking if I wanted to stay in a general area, I could just walk around every flat, because they're usually UK expats and other nationalities as well from Northern Europe who want to go home to their family at some point, or they don't like the too hot of summer in Spain and Portugal, and I love it. So they want to get out of there. And so, yeah, if I wanted to stay in an area, I could probably just door knock a couple of apartments and just, and I think once people know you, so one of the pet sits I've done that I've gone back to said, next time you come, can you help me with nutrition advice? Absolutely. That's easier to get once you already know somebody and they've met you.
Yeah, sure.
So then it's packaging up and then maybe saying, look, I do that online as a paid thing. So now I can have a little bit of income with my pet sitting. It's not part of the deal. If I'm pet sitting for you, I'll do that as a paid thing on the side, or I come and do that, not pet sits. All
there'd be repeat business, I would imagine, too. Or
pet sits?
You know, yeah, pet sitting.
Assuming that I want to keep traveling in the same area. So, you know, and I've had some places that, you know, I've been invited to 3 or 4 sits in the UK, and my son's not there anymore, so I'm less likely to get up there for a long time. So, you know, they drop off after a while, they find someone else and whatever. But right at the moment, I'm kind of sitting in this Portugal, Spain area. So yes, I'm getting repeat. Yeah. And in fact, when I was down in Balmatina, because I was with a friend and one of my pet sit hosts, beautiful people, and I pet sat for her twice, and she was saying, we're toying with going on a holiday for a month, you know, would you be interested? I went, pick me, because I like the area. So, you know, whether she does or doesn't at the moment, we don't know. But yeah, if I chose to just go backwards and forwards and just live on survival, I'd just go back and forth to the same people. But because I actually want to go and see different areas, then I've got to find new people as well.
How's your Spanish?
Terrible.
Any desire for it to become better than terrible?
Oh, it frustrates me. I so want to get better. I feel really bad being in any country for any time. Like, I don't feel bad about being in a country for a week and not knowing the language. I try and at least learn to say hello and goodbye and thank you and whatever. But I feel so bad. And it seems so, when I look at it, I've probably been in Spain a total of 6 months. And I pretty well can't speak Spanish, and I'm horribly embarrassed about that. I don't like it one little bit. But the problem that you have for me is that, so I've been in Spain for 2 weeks. Now, the Spanish that they speak in Arcos de la Frontera is different to the Spanish they speak here. So they actually use different words. They cut off words. The accent is different. The words that they use. Valencia has Valenciano. It's a different language altogether. So I was in Spain. So it's hard to learn because I'm often with English speaking hosts. So I was in a place for a month, didn't speak to a Spanish person. And then I traveled around and picked up little bits of Spanish and gone, okay, this is cool. I'm starting to listen, sitting in coffee shops, but people don't necessarily speak to me in Spanish because I don't know it well enough. And then if they're going to speak to me, they're going to speak to me in English, even if they're Spanish, because my Spanish isn't good enough. I go to Valencia. I thought and I started to nail a month in Valencia, which was great. But then I left Spain for 8 months, completely forgot everything. And then came back into Malaga, started talking to someone going, oh, I'm remembering these words. And they're going, huh? Because they don't pronounce it that way in Malaga.
Apps now that are so user-friendly where you can speak into it and it's the specific region or language that you want to speak, and you just give it to the person and it says it in an abstract voice to them. It's a lot easier to communicate now if you wanted to speak their language and they didn't speak any English through the apps.
And that has good and bad to it. It makes you lazy. And I genuinely feel, you know, I've been here long enough that I'd like to have some words. And I just can't communicate with people. Like, you know, I can't sit down in the coffee shop and have a deep, meaningful discussion with anybody. No. Apart from say, ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? Muy bien. Ciao, buongiorno, you know, whatever language. So, you know, and then, you know, I'm 2 weeks in Spain, then I go to Portugal for 6 weeks. Different language. And then I'll come back into Spain. And then I'll go back to Portugal. And then I'll go back to Spain. And so then I'm doing, because I'm not good at any of them, I literally did what I just did to you then. ¿Cómo estás? Which is Spanish. Buongiorno, which is Italian. Ciao. And I go, someone will say to me, how are you? ¿Cómo estás? And you go, molto bene. Shit, that's Italian. Hang on, muy bien. No. Muito bem is Portuguese. But that's how long it takes me to answer them, because I've just gone, crap, I'm in Portugal and I've run through Italian and Spanish and even on the basics, because my brain is still not sure which country I'm in. But I like to try, and I always say to people, and I've done a bit of a video on this as well, where I like to say to people, perdón poco español, you know, I'm so sorry, I only have a little Spanish. And people just treat you so much better than you arrogantly standing there in English going, speak my language, baby, you know, like, perdón poco español, you know, espresso, poco espresso. And then they're cool, they're amazing.
Cool. All right, thanks for answering that question, Mel.
No worries.
Greatly appreciate it.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Bye for now. Ciao.